Peter Brock, well, it's been happening for quite a while now. There they are, row 1 alongside each other. Row 2, Glenn Seaton and Wayne Gardner moving up the order in the Coca-Cola Racing Commodore. Row 3, John Bowe and the Shell FAI Ford and Mark Scaife alongside him. Row 4, Tony Longhurst and Castrol Falcon and Larry Perkins in the Castrol Commodore. Row 5, Stephen Richards and rounding him out, Stephen Ellery in the Ellery Motorsport Falcon EF.
Bad news for Dick Johnson. He's had some trouble with his car today, been working on it, didn't get out there to grid up for this race. He's going to have to start from the pit lane after the rest of the field goes by. Now there they are, lined up on the grid. 17 plus Dick, 18 starters for this third and final heat. Round 8 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship from Wanneroo in Perth. Can the HR team, Lowndes and Brock, do it again with a 1-2 performance?
Seconds away now, just waiting for the starter. Hand in the air with less than 10 seconds from the start of Heat 3. Holden Racing Team, front row. Glenn Seaton could split them off the second row. Look at Wayne Gardner out there on the second row. They get the green light. Very strong start once again from Craig Lowndes. Jumps in front of his teammate. Seaton locks into third position. Gardner's in fourth. There goes Dick Johnson leaving his starting position from pit lane at the back of the pack. And Gardner's gone around. A big spin from Gardner through the Bridgestone loop.
He's taken somebody with him.
So one of the Castrol cars.
It's Larry.
Car 11, Larry Perkins. So, oh, goodness me. Every time Wayne Gardner looks like he's getting toward the front of the field, something happens. Damage. Front left rear corner. Let's look at that again on race cam replay. There's Longhurst Castrol Falcon in front of him as they come through Bridgestone Loop. And you can see Gardner there, whether he was pushed or whether he spun, not sure, but he's coming across the track and kapow! Larry's race cam in the front spoiler of the Castrol Commodore finishes off the replay for us. A big impact there.
Oh, poor old Larry, nothing he could do there. It was just all in front of him and no way to avoid it. And he's parked off on the infield. He'll be a very disconsolate man.
So here we go again. Deja vu for HRT, as we've seen in the previous 2 heats today. Out the front of the pack. Now we've got a car in trouble. It could be Stephen Richards if we could just...
There it was. Stephen Richards went right off the side of the track there, almost up the pit lane, but back onto the main part of the circuit.
So drama upon drama. That opening lap. This field sorting itself out. Didn't put a scratch on this pair though. Holden Racing Team.
Nothing's put a scratch on this pair today.
Nothing can touch them. And Craig Lowndes, of course, with his perfect point score, has now opened it up after that second heat, 45 points ahead of John Bowe.
Wayne Gardner coming into the pits after that first lap altercation. In fact, yes, he's just stopped at the end of the pit lane at his normal pit bay for some quick work on the car. There it is.
Tyre changes, I would have thought.
I don't know how many black cats Wayne Gardner's seen in his life, or how many ladders he's walked under, but boy, he has got bad luck by the bucket load.
He's got damage on the left side front there, which would make you tend to think that someone's moved across or he's clipped someone in the back there that's probably helped him spin.
Mechanics get to work with some hammers trying to bash the damaged bodywork away from the wheels so they can at least continue. But all hope lost of getting a strong position. It was looking so good for Gardner, up to fourth position, slowly moving his way through the field in the previous 2 heats.
Disappointing for the co-team. They're focused on one car to try and get a better result, and unfortunately doesn't seem to be happening for him at the moment.
Back on the track with 2.5 laps gone. Craig Lowndes, the leader from Peter Brock. Glenn Seaton is in third place, followed by defending champion John Bowe. Then Mark Scaife, Tony Longhurst in the Castrol Falcon. Greg Crick. So the privateers, by virtue of that incident first lap, have managed to move up a few placings. Greg Crick, Stephen Ellery are both up there running in 7th and 8th positions.
Sean Walker in trouble, the local guy. Having a run here when the V8s came to town, but he's having trouble there. Big puff of smoke from the car, something terminal.
Fairly terminal.
And he's out of the race, unfortunately. And this bloke is not looking like anything like being out of the race. In fact, look at this point situation. He's now opened up to 45 points ahead of Bowe, and some 32 points further behind Bowe is Glenn Seaton. So Lowndes continuing his domination in the front. There's Scaife and Longhurst. Interesting watching this, Bradley, the progress of these 2 Yokohama shot cars. They just seem to be starting to make some progress.
Well, they are, and fairly evenly matched too, I might say. They certainly doesn't seem to be much difference between the Holden and the Ford. We've got Gardner back on the track now, but unfortunately a couple laps down.
Well, it's incredible what's happened to that car, that driver combination this year. A number of occasions been poised to pounce, and either through some sort of freakish technical failure or an on-track incident. It's managed to rob him of gaining some points. Incredibly rough season for Gardner. There's a car heading into the pit lane. It's one of the Shell Fords. It's John Bowe, in fact, coming down pit lane, car 1.
See it on the right of screen there as the cars go out of shot. We pan round with them. Mark Scaife and Tony Longhurst still battling it out.
Well, I think that could have been a stop-and-go penalty for John Bowe.
They held out the black flag, so yeah, must have been some sort of an infringement in those opening few laps.
He is back on the track.
Well, if his championship wasn't over before, it certainly is looking like it is now. He really will be disappointed with that and needs to get back through the field as fast as he can to try and get a result.
Stop-go penalty for John Bowe. Meanwhile, we take race cam with Mark Scaife. Seeger Holden race cam.
He's in 4th position now. Tony Longhurst 5th.
Now, if we just watch him as he changes the gear, see how his right foot's flat on the throttle. He'll go for another gear in a minute. Dab of the clutch, keeps the throttle flat. Dab of the brakes there, just to pump the brake pedal up, make sure it's there. Back to the gear he wants, turns into the corner. Bang, back on the gas there again. Grabs another gear. Fantastic stuff.
And maybe some people at home, Bradley, wondering how you can change without having to take your foot off the accelerator.
Well, they have a cutout on the revs at, about, well, 8,000 is the legal one, and his would be about 100 short of that, which they calls a soft cut. He just dips the clutch and the car sits on the rev limiter and he grabs the gear.
So the stop-go penalty board is out again, but I can't see a car number. Andy Raymond, in fact, is down there, and we're endeavouring to find out.
So the order, Lowndes just half a second up on his teammate Brock Seaton, a further almost 2 seconds behind Scaife. This man in 4th position. Then we have Tony Longhurst in 5th, Alan Jones in 6th position, then Ingle, Ellery, Crick and Romano. That's the top 10.
And Bowers dropped to 12th out of the points.
It was not the sort of penalty notice he wanted to see in Heat 3 as he hangs on by his fingernails to this championship battle.
Quite a marginal call too. Oh, there's Gardner. He's back in the pits. Obviously a bit more damage done to the car than they first thought, and that's it. He's out of the race.
Just incredible situation for the Coke team. For 3 years in the almost 3 years in the championship, still without a championship heat win and some unbelievably bad luck along the way. Just wondering when their luck will turn. Here's our man Mark Scaife in 4th position. This is a pretty strong performance from Scaife. He's been struggling for grip throughout the year to trying to get some car speed. Oh, look at this. Greg Crick in the Alcare air conditioning Commodore. Up ahead of this bunch, there's Crick in 9th position. You've got Romano, Johnson, Bowe and Larkham in there too, coming through the pack. Crick opening up a bit of a gap. Romano, the young Queensland teammate of Alan Jones in the pack leader Ford. We'll take Dunlop race cam with Dick Johnson, who's been struggling all day on a set of development tyres from Japan, which haven't worked out the way he liked. But he ducks down the outside of Romano, sweeps across in front of the pack leader Ford, and moves up another position. So it's Crick, Romano, Johnson and Bowe. That's the positions, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th, just battling outside the top 10. There's Stephen Richards in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore as well. So plenty of cut and thrust for the minor positions.
Andy Raymond has got some information for us, I think, finalising the situation regarding Wayne Gardner.
Yeah, the nightmare continues for Wayne Gardner. You can see behind me the Coca-Cola car, the number 4 car. Wayne's actually out of the car. He's had enough today. He was penalised a stop-go for rolling at the start. Same was the case with John Bowe.
That's what the other board was out for. Okay, well, the tale of woe continues. Oh, Peter Brock. What's happened here? He's slowed right down.
Yep, Lowndes has just passed our commentary position on the start-finish line. Here's Brock just limping down the hill toward Yokohama corner. So we saw a technical failure with this car in Heat 3 at Lakeside a couple of weeks ago, and here we are, Heat 3 again, and Brock's in trouble. He may well come into pits here, switches across the other side of the track, indicator on, and Brock coming into pit lane. Well, that's a surprise.
Unbelievable, really. I mean, Brock's, that's the second failure he's had in 2 races, and I guess they would be very appreciative of the fact that it's happening to this car.
This elevates Glenn Seaton to 2nd place. Mark Scaife now 3rd, followed by Tony Longhurst, then Alan Jones, Russell Ingle. But of course, Craig Lowndes, the man they've still got to catch, winner of 2 heats so far today.
Well, no doubt Andy Raymond will be down there fairly shortly to find out what the problem is.
I noticed that they're wriggling around down near where the gear changes, so possibly the car's stuck in gear, or the gear lever might have broken or something like that. Oh, here
there
we
we
go.
go.
Jones.
Romano
Romano down the inside of Crick.
And look, he's also jumping into the back of this pack. Mark Larkham in the Mitre 10 Ford. He's got Stephen Richards in the Valvoline car behind him.
It's good that Larko's getting a bit of speed out of the car. They've worked extensively on this car over the summer and into our series to try and get the thing up to speed. And up Stephen Richards down the inside of Larko there.
Had a wretched season so far, though, Mark Larkham, hasn't he?
Well, he has. You know, they've developed the car and they built it from nothing and they had a new crew, so very hard to expect them to be on the podium to start with.
Whoa.
Oh, dear me, not much room there.
Battle of the Privateers. Keep in mind that Crick and Richards are all in contention for the Auto Action Privateers Cup this year. Points very close at the top. Richards currently leading, but Crick is still in there with a shake, so he won't want to give any territory up to this man. So they come up over the rise once again. They push this Crick back. So the situation now is getting very, very tight. But here at the front, he continues to dominate. Craig Lowndes right out on his own. Glenn Seaton in second position. Scaife now moves up to third. Tony Longhurst up to fourth. And Alan Jones in the pack leader forward up to fifth. Don't go away. There's plenty more after the break.
Raceway behind me, a very dejected Peter Brock taking off his helmet. With me is the Holden Racing Team Manager, Jeff Bridge. Jeff, gear selection problems?
Yes, something's gone wrong in the driveline. I mean, it's hard to assess in the middle of a race, but yes, it is a problem. It's no good persevering with it because we might do more damage, so we'll assess it after the race and hopefully be there again next weekend.
And everything was looking so good?
Yes, it was. It's a disappointment to the team, but I guess that's the way it goes. I mean, we have to learn from this and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Well, we'll see Craig Lowndes in the winner's circle.
Thank you.
The battle for third, fourth and fifth continues on the track. Mark Scaife, Tony Longhurst and Alan Jones. Craig Lowndes leading, of course, Glenn Seaton in second place.
Yeah, tremendous battle this. Alan Jones, after that stunning performance in qualifying where he got himself up, was just about sitting on pole position for most of the session until Lowndes put his second set of tyres on and pulled out a blinder. Jones really squeezing a lot of speed out of this car, and that's toward the right end of the season too. So locked in this battle now, third, fourth and fifth position. Mark Scaife will be pretty happy with this too. Had a pretty tough season so far, came into this round only ninth in the championship points. Oh, look at down the inside, Jones. Longhurst almost left the door open for him there. Jones scoots down the inside, didn't need much more of an invitation than that. Displaces Longhurst, so that moves him up to fourth position. So the order now, Lowndes, Seaton, Scaife, Jones and Longhurst as they reel off another lap.
And spare a thought for John Bowe. He is in ninth position, and any chance of him defending his championship is just sliding straight out the window.
That's true, but the interesting thing about motorsport, Wilco, is it's never over till it's over. And if that had been Craig's car with the gear selection problem, well, then JB be back in the championship. So, we can't entirely discount the fact that JB's in there, but he's certainly only hanging on by his fingernails at this point.
Keep in mind, too, with Mallala and Oran Park ahead of us, there is still a maximum of 120 points available. If Bowe can continue to pick up the scraps down the back of the pack, he's just hanging on to that leader, Lowndes. 45 points, the gap between Lowndes and Bowe before the start of this heat. Here comes Jones down the inside. He's done it again. Just makes it look so easy. But Scaife, as Sega Race Cam shows you, coming back on the attack. Up the inside, he got a very good run out of the loop. They'll go side by side over the top, building up to 230 kilometres an hour before they break for Yokohama corner. Jones on the outside, Scaife on the inside, but he has to give way to the flying Ford and moves back another position.
Oh, Jonesy hits the curb quite hard there.
So Scaife cutting times in the 59.7s. Lowndes just reeled off an identical time of 59.7. So they're running at the race leading pace, but it's just that gap opened up over the first few circuits that they're having a lot of trouble trying to bridge. Meanwhile, a bit further back in the pack, Dick Johnson.
Yep, how you doing, guys?
Oh,
Doing better than you.
Tell me about
I
it.
think we've got a much easier job sitting in a commentary box than what you're doing at the moment.
Oh, mate, this is like dead sad. I've got about as much grip as a dog on lino here.
So we said before, it is pretty tough for you and Dunlop trying to develop your Bathurst compounds in a race situation.
Yeah, that's a bit of a tough deal, but somebody had to do it, and I grew the short straw, I suppose.
Well, I guess you've been behind the 8 ball since that earthquake in Kobe. You're still trying to catch up.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I thought I might go and spend a couple of nights down the speedway. I'm used to that much opposite lock now.
You reckon you'd be able to handle a sprint car at the moment?
Mate, I would be absolutely dynamite.
There's a few speedway guys that want to take you up on that.
I don't know, mate. I'll just wait and see.
Dick, only 2 rounds of the championship to go after this. Looking pretty tough for JB to defend his title now.
Oh, tough, all right. He's doing real hard, I tell you. He's basically in the same sort of situation as me. This is a very difficult track for tyres. You know, it really knocks him around something fierce.
Well, looks like you're struggling there, mate, but keep going because you never know what's going to happen.
You don't know the meaning of the word struggle.
All right, Dick. Catch you later, pal.
Okay.
Meanwhile, another our Ford campaigners, Glenn Zick, he'd be a bit happier than Dick Johnson, currently up in 2nd position now. 15 laps completed as they finish this lap. And just monitoring the point situation, 32 points behind Bow. There's a further 45 behind Lowndes, so he's got a lot of points to pick up. He's going to rely on a very bad situation for Lowndes over the next 2 rounds if he was ever going to be in a situation where he could win the championship. But Bradley Jones said before, it's not over till it's over. And Seaton will keep fighting to that last lap.
He certainly will, but I mean, the other thing I guess we have to acknowledge is the fact that HRT are in a different league. I mean, it's a bit like...
well, even Glenn said that, didn't he?
Yeah, they're out there with a Williams Formula 1 car and everyone else is in touring cars at the moment. They've certainly, whatever they've got going, it's working a lot better than what anyone else can come up with, and Craig will have to either make a mistake or have a breakage to falter.
Yes, when Seaton comes down toward Dick Johnson slowing down. He come back, just spoke to him on race cam. He was having all sorts of trouble with...
Looks like he's got some further problem.
With grip. Apparently, word from the pits is he's losing oil pressure as well, so if he hasn't had a bad enough day already, that'll really cap it. Loss of oil pressure, apparently, in Shell FAI car 17. Dick Johnson try and limp it back to the pits. And I'd say by the end of this race, he'd be quite happy to put the car back on the trailer.
Well, he hasn't had a great weekend, and well, none of the team have, I guess. And it's just one of those things, you can't do much about it. You've got no oil pressure, you have to stop.
Tim Slako just sliding by there as Johnson pulls into the pits. That's the end of the day, end of the race for Dick Johnson. Meantime, back among the privateers, Stephen Ellery in car 52.
Yes,
running 8.
Stephen's our top place privateer at the moment. He's Stephen Richards back in 10th position, Romano splitting them. So Stephen Ellery fighting hard to stay in this battle for the Privateers Cup this year. And even though he's behind Richards in the points, we'll see how this shakes out at the end of this round, but he may have just been able to close the gap. Strong, controlled drive, the Chelgo Falcon. And had quite a good deal of success switching to the V8 category this year. Not doing it a lot of bucks, but he's teamed up with Tony Longhurst's Castrol operation. Helps them share costs, transport costs, accommodation, things like that. That's a very effective arrangement for both those teams. And there is his teammate Tony Longhurst. He's making great inroads here, coming up behind Scaife, snapping at his heels. This is the battle for 4th and 5th. Lowndes, Seaton and Jones ahead of them. Down toward Cold Corner once again, 17 laps completed. This will be 18 when they come across the start-finish line. Longhurst, after those equipment failures at Lakeside, and indeed, as you said earlier, lost a left rear wheel in the warm-up this morning. A bit disconcerting for a driver when you're driving a car at speeds in excess of 200 kilometres an hour, but he's really fighting back here.
Got the lights on.
This is an interesting car that's appeared this weekend. The only time you'll probably see it this year, car 31, Grant Johnson.
This is the former Alf Barbagallo car that Grant Johnson has taken over, 22 years of age, a local boy, and done most of his racing in V8 street car category over here in the West. This car's had one outing prior to this in a race here in April, in which he finished 2nd outright, and he's been out here doing a lot of testing and running around under the 62nd lap mark, but it's pretty tough to come up with that extra 2.5 seconds to bridge the gap on the front runners in the Touring Car Championship.
It certainly is, and the word is that he's quite keen to get the car over and do Bathurst, which is a fantastic experience for someone that's so young.
Hope he can find the money.
Well, and it's a long haul from here as well, but he's out there having a go and doing quite well.
1 lap to go now for Craig Lowndes as he lines it up, crosses the start-finish line. Just 1 circuit of the Wanneroo racetrack to go. to make it another perfect 3 out of 3 clean sweep in this 8th round of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship and set himself up, you got to say it, almost certainly now for the 1996 championship.
It's the 3rd time he's done it. A perfect 3 from 3. He did an absolute demolition job at Symonds Plains earlier in the year for round 4. Repeated the dose at Lakeside 2 weeks ago, and here he is again. Absolute domination, 3 from 3. Just really playing with the field. He doesn't look like he's working hard at all. This car, tremendous power down out of the corners. It looks like it's got so much grip he doesn't even have to use most of the road. And he's just doing it so easily. Just coming like a bombshell in touring car racing this year. I'd expected he'd get a caning at the hands of the old school, but he really has just left him standing.
In the background there, we can just see Glenn, who's just not good enough today.
So last corner, last lap for Craig Lowndes, 3 from 3, gets the checkered flag. He'll just beat home Glenn Seaton in 2nd position. Alan Jones closing on the Ford Credit Falcon in 3rd. And there's still a battle going on for Scaife. Longhurst. Scaife will finally pick up 4th and Longhurst 5th.
On the Shell race score, looks like he could have done it on cruise control. Craig Lowndes the winner again in this round of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. Glenn Seaton coming home 2nd in that event. Alan Jones in 3rd spot. Mark Scaife in 4th, holding out Tony Longhurst. Followed by Russell Ingle in 6th position, then John Bowe, Steve Ellery, Paul Romano and Stephen Richards. And coming...
Welcome back to Wannerro Raceway, and there's no doubting the Holden Racing team's dominance over today's proceedings. Round number 8 in our top privateer. Congratulations to Stephen Richards.
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, we had a good day today. I'd like to thank Auto Action for supporting the Privateers Cup, Valvoline, Cummins, Spiral Performance Products, Qantas, and of course Bridgestones for having such great tyres today.
We're going to have to start questioning you being a privateer. You're giving some of these top teams a real run.
Oh, we're trying hard anyway.
And you're going extremely well. Congratulations. 3rd place, and everything was just looking so good before about half race distance in the 3rd. Peter Brock. From north to south, east to west, the name still gets a giant roar.
Actually, someone was saying to me before the race, you know, oh, well, this is going to be a lay-down misère. I said, I've been around motor racing too long to bet on any of those sorts of things. Something happened in the gear shift mechanism, but really the car's just beautiful to drive, and it was a credit to the boys. And to get 3rd overall for the day, despite all that, was rather incredible.
A tough circuit. I mean, brakes, tyres, you need the grunt. It's got everything.
Yeah, you need a bit of balance to get the car consistently fast. If you start sliding the car too much, you lose that straight line drive, but the cars are just beautiful to drive at the moment. As long as you sort of drive within the limits of what the car can offer, it just does it lap after lap.
Peter, congratulations. 2nd place and the first Ford on the podium, Glenn Seaton. Glenn, the lone Ford pilot.
Yeah, it's hard work out there with the Holden team. They've done a sensational job, so I congratulate them. Also Craig on his effort today. But my team, who's worked over the clock to try and get ours as quick as we can, and we just got to do a bit more homework.
Well, you're going very well as we head towards the Enduros. Glenn Seaton, congratulations. And there has certainly been no doubting today's winner. And at this point, I would ask the motorsport manager for Shell, Mr. Ross Brodie, to present the winner's garland to Mr. Craig Lowndes. I just heard someone yell out Junior. Exceptional stuff today.
It's as Peter said, the cars are going great. The teams have done a lot of work, and it's a credit to them. We just drive the things.
You ever wake up in the morning and think this has just been a dream year?
Well, at the start of the year, no one had any hope for me, and now they're all expecting me to win. So hopefully we can go on and win this elusive one that HRT had never won.
It has been a while, hasn't it, for the team?
It has, yes.
Looking very nice as we head towards Bathurst, we head towards Sandown. Of course, we've still got a couple of rounds of the series remaining.
We have got a couple of rounds, so we've got 6 races to go, and we're looking forward to it now. It's going to make it a little bit easier on us, I think, with the point gap we've got, but no, we're looking forward to, I think Brocky and I are looking forward to the long distance as well.
Can you take it easy as yet?
No, not yet, no.
Well, I think you and Peter sort of cleared out and missed most of the action today, but congratulations, Craig Lowndes, victor, round number 8 here at Wanneroo, and he's going to be hard to beat for this year's title.
Yes, there's no doubt Craig Lowndes has got it all, and he displayed it for us here today at Wanneroo in Perth in round 8 of the championship. Looking at the points, well, it looks pretty good for him now, doesn't it, Mark Osler?
Certainly does, Gary. 59 points up on John Bowe. That's effectively 3 race wins ahead of the Shell FAI Falcon driver. Glenn Seaton in 3rd on 260, Peter Brock on 204, and Russell Ingle now 158.
Well, Brad Jones, I know we can't concede the championship at this point to Craig Lowndes, but it's looking good. Do you think they made a mistake by not giving the Ford Falcons something a little extra, which they had asked for?
Well, it's looking a bit like that at the moment. The Fords were always penalised when the Seaton cars were dominant or the Dick Johnson cars were dominant, and now obviously the HRT have a much superior mousetrap, and it's looking like the Fords could do with something to make up the gap.
Yeah, that's the point, isn't it? The last 3 times the Fords have looked too strong. They've been pulled back to the field, but it hasn't happened this time for Holdens.
That's true, but if I was a Holden competitor, I'd feel a little bit cheated because they need something to make up the gap to HRT. So by and large, HRT just have a much better package than anyone else at the moment for some reason.
Looking beyond the Touring Car Championship with Bathurst ahead, would you want to be driving a Ford at the moment?
I think if I had a choice, you'd nearly have to say you'd want to be in a HRT car. They're just so strong at the moment, but I'm sure that the other teams will focus for Bathurst. It's one of those important races where someone like Larry Perkins, that's been running nowhere this weekend, out of the top 10 or just around that, can possibly go out and win it. It's a unique race, so I'm sure they haven't lost heart completely, but gee, they certainly want to make sure they're pencil sharp.
If there's going to be nothing done officially to redress the balance between the two makes, what can the Ford guys, if anything, what can they do?
Well, a lot of homework. They really have to go out and test their cars and make sure that they do whatever they need to make them work.
All right, well, that clears the way for the penultimate round of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship for 1996, and that is at Mallala in South Australia next Sunday. That is the 2nd of June. You'll see it only on 7 Sport, the Australian Touring Car Championship. Look forward to seeing you then.